and welcome back to this episode of today. My name is Rebecca Udom. I'm a family psychology specialist. We focus on strengthening vulnerable children from vulnerable families. We focus on educating and enlightening the world about child rights protection. So on today's episode, I will be teaching around the types of abuse that children experience, that children go through, and the challenges realizing the rights of these children. So although there is an extensive acknowledgement of the rights of children now, there are numerous obstacles that continues to impede their rights and their well-being. So this goes from poverty and conflict to discrimination and limited access to education and health care. So there are various challenges that must be overcome. So with you and I, the adults, if we come up with a united global heart, oneness of mind, and all hands on deck, we can overcome these challenges and put children in a better and a safe place, thereby creating a safe and a resilient environment for children. So the right of children, it goes beyond being ideals. They are essential obligations that individuals, communities, and nations must uphold without negotiation. So recognizing and promoting this right is a collective effort towards creating a future where every child can grow in a world that is filled with love and empathy. So what are these abuses that children go through? There are different types of abuse. It goes from there's physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect. Those are the 4 types of abuse that children experience all over the globe. So to effectively protect children, it is crucial to have thorough understanding of the various dangers they may encounter, because if you do not know why it is wrong to abuse a child, if you do not know the effects, the danger that they are being put through, you might see child right as an irrelevant thing to practice. But if you know how dangerous it is, you will want to support child rights protection. So child abuse and neglect are unfortunately common issues that exist globally. You can tell, you can attest to this. Even in your next door, you can attest to it. For some of us that are currently witnessing child rights abuse, deprivation, etc. So by examining the different forms of abuse and neglect, we can equip ourselves with the knowledge needed to identify, prevent, and intervene in these situations. So we are going to explore each type of abuse closely. We have number 1 type of abuse, physical abuse. What is physical abuse? Physical abuse involves afflicting physical harm or injury on a child. It can be as a result of deliberate action, such as hitting. You like hitting a child. You hit children. Every small thing you hit a child. That's physical abuse, and you can be apprehended for doing that. Throwing the child. There's a video I came across where a nanny just was abusing the child. One of the things she was doing to that child was kicking and throwing the child. I don't know what came over her. So those are some types of physical abuse, things that afflict that put injuries on children. It could be flogging, it could be stoning, it could be anything that will cause a child physical pain on their physical body is known as physical abuse, and you must refrain from that. Some of you adults are going about with scars and marks on your body as a result of what either your parents or your guardians or any adult, even school teacher, did to you. How do you feel about that, seeing scars on your body in this age and time, in this refined age and time? And people still do those things. I know a mother who would always hit her child. Then I had no knowledge of what child right abuse was. Yeah, so I couldn't do anything. So this particular mother will always, when this child offends her or does something wrong, she can hit this child with anything. Several times this child, a boy child, blood bleeds from his head, and you will ask, what happened to you? My mommy beats me. So there are a lot of injuries. There were always a lot of injuries on this boy's body caused by the mom, and that is serious offense. Some children suffer abuse from teachers in schools, and this should not be tolerated at all. Such a teacher, the license for teaching should be taken from such a teacher. Yes, because it is not normal. So by examining the different forms of abuse and neglect, we can equip ourselves with the knowledge needed to identify, prevent, and intervene in this situation. Like I said. So why physical abuse? Alright. So when you are doing all this physical harm on children, all in the name of, disciplining a child, training a child, that's not training. That's wickedness. That's not training. Children don't need such to undergo training. What a child needs is kind words, kind actions, open communication, respect, then love, then provision. That's what children need. So all this physical abuse that adults, parents, teacher cause on children are not training. They are not disciplining a child. Alright? And this, like I said, all this action that you do to cause harm on children have consequences. That there's punishment for that under the law. I didn't make it. It is under the law. So this sign may include, take note of this. If you're around a child or children, there are signs you will know if a child is being constantly abused physically by an adult. Number 1 is unexplained bruises. Number 2 is burns. Number 3 is fractures. Those are some of the signs you will always see. Like that boy, like I said, that child that the mother is always abusing him physically, is always on the head. You will always see marks on his head. You will always see him bleeding. Okay? So why physical marks are evidence, indications, that's for physical abuse. The emotional and psychological toll can be just as detrimental, leading to a long-time trauma. So every abuse being carried out on a child has an emotional and a psychological effect on the child. And you know that as a child, whatever is like a garbage in, garbage out kind of a thing, whatever you put into that child, that is what he or she will grow up to believe is the right thing to do, except the person gets healings. And you know not everybody that gets healings from this abuse. So they will feed on the innocent people that will come, after them. They will do it to their children. They will do it to people younger than them. They will be bitter to people they can feed on. And that as a result of what an adult has done to that person. So if the person can live a life like that, it will be a long-time trauma in the life of that individual due to what was done to him or her when they were just kids. So another type of abuse is emotional abuse. Emotional abuse, also known as psychological abuse. This might not leave physical scars, but the damage can run deep. This can even cause madness. This can even send someone to a psychiatric hospital. Yes. This type of abuse entails acts such as belittling, shaming, threatening, or isolating the child. I want you to take note of those points. Those things you are doing to your child or to a child under you. We are always belittling this instead of praising them, instead of encouraging them, instead of words of encouragement, instead of kind words, instead of loving words. You're always belittling the child. You're always shaming this child, both in private and in public places. You're always threatening this child. You put fear in the life of a child. This thing have a way of bringing down the self-esteem of that child. So this can also manifest as indifferences, ignoring the child, or showing them a consistent lack of affection. So those are some of the things that you do that an adult will do that is emotionally or psychologically abusing a child. So the consequences of this is low self-esteem, like I said before. Low self-esteem. This child will not have self-confidence as an adult. And you can tell me that you know that very well. There are so many children out there with low self-esteem, no self-confidence. They even grow, we even have adults who grow from that. They've not healed from that emotional abuse. You have adults, they do not have self-confidence. They have low self-esteem. Depression. Some people have not come off the depression of what was done to them. I experienced depression. I experienced low self-esteem as a young lady. And they also have difficulties in forming a healthy relationship later in life. You see a lot of people having some mindsets that you say you cannot even explain. Some of these are because of the experiences they had when they were just kids. They avoid people. They like to be on their own. They like to isolate themselves. But how do you even live this life when you can't live this life alone? You want to deal with animals or sticks or stones. You have to deal with human beings. Then with your self-esteem, with your knowledge, you cannot tell who is good and who is bad. You cannot just shut everybody off your life. But this is how some people are living their lives. They are not people oriented. They always run from people. They have phobia with that. It has to do with people. I was once like that. Anything stranger, you can't see me. Anything talk. If I'm to talk where there's a conversation, you can't hear my voice. You cannot hear my voice. So those were the things. Those are the things that emotional and psychological abuse can cause in the life of a child. I mean, we have this kind of adults in the society, in the community, even in the family, which is the background of the society, the foundation. The foundation of a society is a family. If you now have this kind of children growing into adults in the family, what kind of society are we going to have? We are going to have society with people who are not capable, people who are timid, people who cannot stand up for themselves, because before you can stand up for others, you must be able to stand up for yourself first. So if we have people who cannot stand up for themselves, how do they stand up for others? How do they even stand up for their offsprings, their younger ones, not to talk of the community, then the society as a whole? Do you understand the impact, the negative impact of abusing children, abusing a child, taking advantage of a child? So the next type of abuse is sexual abuse. You know, I was very lucky that God did not allow me to experience sexual abuse, to go through the trauma of being sexually abused by a man. And they were there. I had experiences whereby there were attempts. I told you, growing up as a child in secondary school, there are 6 men who tried to abuse me sexually. And you know the funny thing about this thing? When I reported this matter to the adults who was responsible for me as a child then, nothing was done about it. And that made me to have trust issues with the adults that were responsible for me then. I felt unsafe. I felt disrespected. I felt neglected, and I felt unloved. So that was very bad. And the one that hurt me most was when I had the courage to open up to one of my closest family members, and nothing was done about it. That was really very disappointing. Yeah, I grew up with that disappointment, that feeling, till it became something else in me. So I had trust issues. So sexual abuse refers to involving a child in sexual acts or their exploitation for sexual purposes. That's what sexual abuse is all about. You want to touch a child. You as an adult, you want to touch a child. You want to penetrate a child. You want to molest a child. You disrespect the privacy of a child. That is sexual abuse. And there is no excuse for that. You don't even deserve to live. If I want to go by my way, you don't deserve to live. And I will say this, you have the mindset you are being turned on because of a child, I don't think it's okay that they've ever even given birth to such a person. What kind of person are you that you look at a child with all the adults all over the world. You have to pick a partner. You look at a child and you feel that that child will satisfy your sexual urge. You are a demon. That's demonic. And forgive me if I say you are not worth giving birth to. They would have flushed you out when you were formed. Honestly, you're not meant to be here on this earth. You are meant to be 6 feet. So this sexual abuse can range from exposing a child to adult sexual activities to direct engagement. When I was a child in secondary school, there's this man. I was meant to see this man as my father. Everybody called him daddy. I never called this man daddy because when I look at his behavior towards me, he wasn't worthy. He wasn't worthy to be called daddy. To be a daddy to someone, it takes a lot. You don't have to give birth to a child for that child to daddy you or mommy you. There's a lot. When the woman that was responsible for me, that I was living in a house working as a domestic child staff, would travel, the brother will come, the brothers, 2 of them, will come, try to touch my body. They will come, try to tell me, come play with me. They will expose their genitals to me to play with. So I live in fear in the house there. This man, I was so scared of this man that I cannot stand and back him because I'm scared of what he's coming to do. If he's coming from my right, I will go to the left side of the house. I was always timid around these 2 men when they were around. But everybody sees this man as a very good and generous man. But they don't know he has skeleton in his closets. But lack of knowledge. If I have known, I would have reported. But no, and I had no trusted adult to talk to. When I tried it, the first one I tried didn't work. The second one I tried didn't work. So I trusted nobody in that direction. And I just thank God because what does it even take? If you see me then, I was just when they want to count people that are tiny in nature, they will count me and put. They can't even count me and put that are big. I'm even trying now. I was among the smallest size of people then. Very tiny. You could only see my eyes because God blessed me with eyes. But it doesn't take a grown man like in his 40 to just rape a child like me. But what I would say that I was lucky that it never happened. It never happened. God did not allow it. And God used the knowledge that I received from my mother. Don't let a man do this to you. Teach your children these things. Talk about these things. Do not hide it. These are your private bodies. Do not hide these things from the kids. Teach them. Teach them safe touches, safe types of greetings. Do not hide it from them. It was the only one I had from my mother, and that was what helped me because when I was told as a child, come and play with my body, come and touch me, call me play with you, I refused. I was running. I was locking myself in the room. But God saved me because He didn't take that man anything to just rape me, and that was it. But God didn't allow it to happen. So the impact of child sexual abuse is profound. When I was wrongly touched by one other external man who comes to the house, I was wrong. The man grabbed me from my chest. I know the feeling of that. I cried out. I reported. Nothing was done about it. But if by touching me wrongly, I felt so much pain, what of a child that is being penetrated? A child that this is happening to him or her every day. So this thing left so much pain in my heart. I had hatred for these people. God just healed me. God just healed me. So the impact of sexual abuse is very profound, leaving the survivor to cope with guilt. There are some children out there who are guilty for what is not their fault. They will abuse a child and they will gaslight the child into guilt. You know, some of these children are living with shame. Yeah, they are ashamed because they've been sexually abused. And nobody is there to speak up for them. Nobody is there to support them. Nobody is there to help them throughout the healing process. And distorted perspective of sexuality. If you are going through this, you need healing. There's such thing as therapy. Like I would say, I didn't even have money to go training physical therapy. It was the word of God that healed me. I forgave. So, if you are living with all this impartation caused by abuse, any form of abuse you get through as an adult, and you have a child that is not healed from any types of abuse he or she must have gone through, I would advise you seek professional advice, which is therapy. Do not sit there and fight that alone. You are not always alone with this. Okay. So the next type of abuse, the last one, is neglect. Child neglect encompasses the failure to fulfill a child's fundamental requirements, including their physical, emotional, and educational needs. That's when you do all these things to a child. And sometimes when it comes to providing, fulfilling, it is not always deliberate. For instance, a child from a poor family is likely not to have a proper physical requirements to live a good life. And we are going to talk about causes, their signs, and the challenges to prevent all this. So physical neglect can involve withholding food, those essence of days things that your mama and papa used to do to you. You are doing it to a child now. If you did not do this thing, you will not eat today. You are starving a child. That's wickedness and that's abuse. Don't do that. A child doesn't need that. You don't need to starve a child. Please let me tell you, if God has blessed you and you have food in your house and your children are there, you have any child around you, do not starve your children. Do not say they must finish all the work before they eat. That's nonsense. Feed a child for God's sake. And nutritionally and health-wise, when a human being wakes up, your breakfast should be 2 hours after you have woken up. You as an adult, you can decide to go through some kind of fasting. You know, as an adult, we have a way of trying to take care of ourselves. But for a child, please stop that. Feed children. Then you supervise them with chores that you want them to learn how to do. Don't see because you have not finished this way, you have not done. Don't be doing that. Hunger causes mental problem, headache, migraine. They are there, and this thing don't just the symptoms don't come on time. They come later in life. So that's not a way of disciplining a child. Another thing is shelter. Some children are neglected from having a good shelter. Sometimes it's caused by poverty. We have children living under the bridge. We have children sleeping on the street. And this is where philanthropists, good people, governments have to come in to provide for shelter for children like this who are neglected, who are from less privileged homes. Then medical attention, the parts of some children have been neglected medically. They don't have good medical attention that they need. This is where the government comes in. This is where good people, philanthropists, gifters comes in. This is where they come in. Or emotional support. Some children are neglected emotionally. You don't feel the emotion, what that child is feeling. You are not connected. A child comes to you to talk to you about what he or she is going through. Let me tell you something. The more you allow a child to open up to you, the more you are likely to help that child and stop that child from making a wrong mistake or going to a wrong person. The more you allow a child to stop shutting children up, allow them to talk. Even if it's rubbish. There's a saying that said there's a sense in every nonsense. They are talking based on their knowledge of understanding. So you as an adult, yours is to listen and then align things the way they should be. So you should be glad that you have children that want to talk to you. And a child will only want to talk to you when he or she can trust you. Growing up in another family out there, not my family then, at a point in my life, I found it difficult to talk to an adult. I found it so difficult. And when you are, as a child, is not able to communicate his or her challenges with you freely, the next option that child sees, that's what he or she will take, be it good or bad. And this can claim the life of a child or cause any harm to the child. So educational neglect occurs when a child is denied their right to an education. When a child is denied their right to an education, this child is educationally neglected. So the consequence of neglect can be as severe as those of abuse and can impede a child's physical, emotional, and intellectual development. So those are the 4 types of abuse that children go through. And they need help. They need help. So let's just talk about the last session for today. We'll talk about the signs and symptoms of abuse and neglect. Then by next week, I'll talk about recognizing physical abuse. How do you recognize these abuses? So the signs and symptoms of abuse and neglect goes on that child abuse and neglect are regrettably widespread issues that can have a significant impact on a child's overall well-being. So guardians, educators, I'm talking to you. We are all adults. You cannot leave a child to care for a child. That was what I went through. Was a child caring for a child. Community members and child welfare professionals must be able to recognize the signs and symptoms of abuse and neglect in a child. So by identifying this early on, you and I can ensure that children receive the necessary support and assistance they require. So I'm going to stop here today. Like I said, by next week we will look at the signs of recognizing these abuses. Thank you very much for joining us today. Like I said, my name is Rebecca Udom. I will see you next Sunday. Have a nice day.